Good thing you came. This is more than a headache.
Imagine this for a second. You've had headaches. We all have. You probably knew your usual type, maybe a tension headache or your migraine pattern.
Yeah, the regulars.
Exactly.
Sure.
But then, one day, wham, a headache hits that just feels, well, completely different. Not just worse, but strange.
Alien, almost.
Right. Came out of nowhere. Maybe it lasts way longer than usual, or it brings along these symptoms you just can't explain.
Uh-huh.
So the big question we're tackling today is, what if that specific pain, that different headache, isn't just a fluke? What if it's your body trying to send a really important message, maybe even a dangerous one?
And that's where we're going today. We're diving deep into this, drawing on some really key insights from Dale Ruddock, particularly his work asking, are your headaches trying to tell you something serious?
Okay.
Our goal here really is to give you, our listener, a kind of shortcut, a way to better understand what your body might be signaling through these aches and pains.
Because most aren't serious, right? But some are.
Precisely. The vast majority, thankfully, are benign. But it's absolutely vital to know how to tell the difference between just a common ache and a potential serious warning sign.
It's about understanding why that difference matters so much.
Yes, it's all about tuning in, sharpening your senses to those potentially critical health signals your body sends. Listening to your body, essentially.
Okay, I'm ready. So if we want to really get these signals, maybe let's start with the basics. The times when a headache is probably just a headache.
Good place to start.
Because honestly, the vast majority aren't signs of something life-threatening. We're talking about the ones most people know.
Mm-hmm.
Tension headaches, right? Maybe from stress at work or migraines, which can be awful but familiar to sufferers, and sinus headaches too.
Those crusher headaches, yeah.
It's so easy, I think, to just brush any headache off as, oh, it's just one of those days.
And that's understandable, especially because the triggers are often so common. Stress, like you said, not drinking enough water.
Dehydration, yeah.
Uh-huh. Or skipping a meal, that blood sugar dip. Even just staring at a screen too long, eye strain.
All stuff we do every day, potentially.
Exactly. And because these triggers are common, people sometimes, unfortunately, dismiss the signs that are actually dangerous. These everyday headaches, while they can definitely be painful, disruptive even,
Oh, definitely.
they generally don't signal something immediately severe. But, and this is the key point Ruddock makes, not all headaches are created equal. It's vital to recognize the differences.
Okay, so that's the pivot point. If they're not all the same, how do we know? How do we tell the difference between, like, a background whisper of pain and a full-on alarm bell?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. What are those unmistakable signs? The ones where your body is practically screaming that something's really wrong. This is where Dale Ruddock's insights feel, well, frankly, critical, the red flag.
Absolutely critical. And what Ruddock really emphasizes isn't just what the symptom is, but its newness for you. Is this something you've never experienced before with a headache? That's often the real red flag.
Okay, so novelty is key.
Yes, and he details some very specific ones to watch for. First, a sudden, really severe headache, often called a thunderclap headache.
That.
Yeah, like it hits you instantly out of the blue, and it's often described as the absolute worst pain of your entire life.
Wow. Okay, that sounds serious.
It is. Then there are things like vision changes, blurring, double vision, loss of vision. Any numbness or weakness, especially if it's just on one side of your body, that's a big one.
One side.
Also, confusion or sudden trouble speaking, finding words, understanding others, a fever or a stiff neck along with the headache, that combination is important.
Fever and stiff neck. Got it.
Headaches that actually wake you up from sleep, or, and this is subtle but crucial, a headache that just keeps getting worse day after day. It's intensifying, not getting better.
Relentlessly worse.
Exactly. These aren't just, I feel unwell symptoms. They are potential emergency signals.
What could they be signaling? What are the potential underlying issues?
Well, they could point towards really serious conditions. Things like a stroke or a brain aneurysm, maybe even a brain tumor, or dangerously high uncontrolled blood pressure.
So life-threatening possibility.
Potentially,
Yeah.
yes. And that's why recognizing these specific red flags and getting immediate medical attention is just non-negotiable, vital.
That really brings home the importance. You mentioned blood pressure there. It's interesting. That connection might not be obvious to everyone.
It's often overlooked.
Yeah. So for someone maybe not thinking about their heart health when their head hurts, how does that work? How does high blood pressure actually cause a headache?
That's a really important point. When your blood pressure gets dangerously high, like really
It's
skyrockets.
like in a hypertensive crisis.
Exactly. It can actually cause increased pressure inside your skull within the brain itself. And the headache it causes isn't just a dull ache. It's often described differently.
How so?
People might feel a distinct pounding sensation, often right at the back of the head. It can also come with blurred vision, dizziness, sometimes even significant confusion.
Okay, so specific location and accompanying symptoms.
Yes. And Ruddock frames this perfectly. It's like your body is basically screaming for help at that point. It's not a whisper anymore.
Right. Less a whisper, more a siren.
Absolutely. So if you know you have high blood pressure, or even if you just suspect it, and you suddenly get a severe headache, especially with those other symptoms, the pounding, the vision changes, dizziness, you absolutely cannot ignore it. It's a major warning.
That's crucial advice. But it also leads to, well, a tricky area, migraines.
Ah, yes, migraines.
So many people get them. And they can come with some scary symptoms themselves, can't they? Like aura, sometimes speech slurring, numbness, sensitivity to light.
Mhm.
Things that sound a bit like those red flags.
They can, absolutely. Migraine aura in particular can mimic some neurological symptoms, which can be really frightening for the person experiencing it.
So how on earth does someone tell the difference? If you get migraines regularly, how do you know if this time it's just a bad migraine or something more sinister?
This is where pattern recognition becomes absolutely essential, but with a really important distinction that Ruddock highlights.
Okay.
Most people who experience migraines over time learn their typical pattern. They know their triggers, maybe they get specific warning signs, they know roughly how intense it usually gets, how long it lasts.
Right. You kind of get to know your enemy, so to speak.
Exactly. You develop a baseline. The crucial differentiator, the thing to watch for, is a significant change from that baseline.
And change. How?
If the headache symptoms are suddenly brand new for you, or if the intensity is just off the charts, way beyond your usual worst migraine, or if the type of symptoms are completely different from your normal migraine pattern,
Even if you're a regular migraine sufferer.
especially if you are. If this headache feels fundamentally different from your established pattern, that abrupt shift, that novelty that is your signal to seek medical attention, don't just assume it's a worse than usual migraine.
It's about the break in the pattern, not just the symptoms themselves if you're used to them.
Precisely. That change is the alert.
Okay, that clarifies things a lot. So we've talked about common headaches, red flags, the blood pressure link, the migraine confusion. Let's bring it all together. For the listener, what does this all mean practically? What should you actually do?
Right. The actionable steps. It really boils down to two main scenarios based on Ruddock's advice.
Okay.
First, immediate action. If your headache feels like the worst pain of your life, that thunderclap headache we talked about, or if it comes with any of those red flag symptoms.
The numbness, vision changes, confusion, stiff neck.
Yes, any of those. Don't wait. Don't try to tough it out. Go straight to the emergency room. Seriously, don't delay.
Okay. Immediate ER for red flags or worst pain ever. Got it. What scenario 2?
Scenario 2 is proactive management for the more typical non-emergency headaches. This is about long-term strategy.
Makes sense.
Keep a headache diary, track when they happen, what you were doing, eating, feeling. This helps identify your personal triggers.
Knowing your triggers is powerful.
Hugely. Also, actively manage your blood pressure if that's an issue for you. Stay well hydrated, that's a simple but effective one. And try hard not to skip meals. Keep that blood sugar stable.
Basic health advice, but really relevant here.
Absolutely. And underlying all of this, the core message from the source material, the most vital takeaway, is simply listen to your body, pay attention to its signals.
It really comes back to that, doesn't it? So wrapping things up, it seems clear that, well, thankfully, most headaches aren't dangerous.
The vast majority, yes.
Every single headache is still worth paying attention to.
Okay.
It's a signal. Your body often speaks in these subtle whispers first, especially through pain. And this whole deep dive feels like a really empowering reminder to take those whispers seriously, to listen carefully, and to act early if the whisper changes its tone or volume.
Beautifully put. And building on that, maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Reflect not just on your headaches, but think about other potential whispers your body might be sending. Are there other small aches, maybe subtle shifts in your energy levels, little unusual sensations that you've been kind of brushing off?
Dismissing as just getting older or just tired.
Exactly. What else might your body be trying to tell you? Seeing these things not as annoyances, but as potentially valuable information could really empower you to take charge of your health in new ways. It prompts a deeper self-awareness beyond just headaches. What else are you potentially overlooking?